many times All-Star, just a great player. Tiki will attest, it's very rare that as a 43-year-old man, I morphed back into a much younger part of my life. I just rifled about 20 highlights at Bernie, and he gracefully and graciously sat through all of them, acknowledging, smiling. Number 51, good to have you in the studio. What's up, buddy?
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Humble
this is
Bernie.
Great.
Look at him.
Great.
Look
Thank
at him.
you.
Oh, man. Well, the wild card is so different. Let's start with this here, Bernie. Tonight, you get a one-game playoff. You get tomorrow with the Mets and the Giants. Obviously, you guys were the first wild card back in '95, but different. It was with the only one. It was a series.
It was only one.
What do you think the pressure would be like knowing you got 27 outs, and if it doesn't go your way, you're in the playoffs, but you're really not?
Yeah, is it even fair, really?
I mean, it's better than the other teams who aren't getting a shot.
Good point.
Yeah, it is difficult. I think you have to approach it as any game. I think you tend to think that every little thing that you may do in the game may affect the outcome of the game. So you may be playing it a little bit on the safe side. But for the most part, you have gotten into that position for a reason. It makes it very interesting for your fan base because you go into this, at times, in the past, making plans for what are you going to do in October, some country club or whatever it is. But now you're playing for something meaningful with a chance to go even further. So as long as you have hope, I think that hope sort of carries you. But the game, whatever's going to happen in the game is going to happen. And, the one thing that you can control is your approach and try to do the best you can.
Yeah, I always feel like it almost doesn't matter who the better team is in a one-game wild card. Because usually, unlike the NFL where you get into the playoffs, you win or lose. So the better team on that day wins and goes forward. In baseball, because they're series, the better team usually rises to the surface. But the one-game playoff, I've always looked at it as, yeah, this is great, but this isn't really fair. You could have an off day. Your pitcher could, sleep wrong and, has a chink in his neck. And the next thing you know, you're out of it. And you're the better team. And we've seen this happen.
Yeah, that is true. And that's, one of the things that makes the game so special and so uncertain, unpredictable. And it makes it exciting for us as players.
Yeah.
You never know.
You feel it's a different energy. Bernie Williams with us in the studio. I was talking to Bernie. I mentioned this one of the 19 things. Yankees during my childhood, Yankees won the championship in '78 and '77. But I was too young, and I've said this on the show before. So Bernie's team, and that was a team for the ages, the '96 Yankees. I was at the game 6, against a Braves team with a lot of Hall of Famers, including their manager. Now, you guys, when you win the World Series, we all remember Boggs on the horse and all the great snapshots from that season. Boggsy getting up on the horse. He probably drank 3 cases of beer in the club. I can only imagine. But what was it like, Bernie? Because really, your team was the bridge. We grew up hearing about Yankee lore, Mickey Mantle this and that. But for a lot of us, it didn't really exist. To be able to be, kind of fill in the gap for a lot of younger Yankee fans must have been incredibly special for you and your teammates, huh?
Yes, it was incredibly special for me. And I, have to say this: when I became a Yankee, went into the pros in '91, I was kind of like the lone wolf there, the youngest player in the team, full of veterans.
That was a bad team too.
The players were, like you have Roberto Kelly,
Jesse Barfield was on that team. Matt Noakes.
I
got you.
Bernie,
I got it all,
man. You know all of them.
The only thing I didn't do was play for that team. But I get, So you were the young guy.
Yeah. So it was great to see all the guys that came after me, that were given an opportunity to prove that what they could do, on the team before they got traded.
Yeah.
Before Mr. Steinbrenner, the front office, decided that that it would be better for the team to get another veteran, another person, like maybe on their way down or, something like that. And I think that sort of opened the door for, getting people in like Jorge Posada and Mariano and Andy Pettit and Derek, and it was great to see those years to be witness to that evolution of the team, to become a veteran sort of team, to for a team that was more young
Yeah, and on the
have that core on the way up.
on the rise. What was it about your core of players that just performed in the postseason? Because our producer was telling me some of your postseason stats. You're second in every category. Derek is obviously first in all of them. And that may be a volume thing because of the number of opportunities. But there's something about performing in the postseason. You see it in every sport. What is it about you and those Yankees teams that were able to do that, even when you didn't have the best seasons?
Well, I think the first couple of years we were, I mean, especially in '96, being underdogs, sort of helped a little bit because we were playing with, as they say, reckless abandonment. We had nothing to lose. We were pummeled the first two games of that series.
Andy Pettit got lit up. Andrew Jones went deep twice that night.
Yes, and he just came, that was his debut.
Yeah.
And George has his, Joe Torre goes to Mr. Steinbrenner and gives him that famous phrase, we're going to sweep them over there and we're going to, and we're going to do it here. We're going to clinch the series here. And George looks at Joe with, like he has two heads. But we ended up just doing that. Same thing, obviously the home run by Jimmy Liritz against Wohlers turned the whole series around. But it was that inner confidence that we had and was created by the person of Joe Torre being that calming presence in the clubhouse. He was able to deflect a lot of the attention from the media, a lot of the distractions from being a player in New York onto him. He was really accommodating, and he just left us to play our game. And, the rest is history. But he was the right guy for the right job at the right time.
No doubt. Bernie Williams in studio with us here.
Do you see that in any of the teams that are still playing right now, that have that combination of young, up-and-coming talent and some veterans that are stars, but the manager, the skip, who knows how to get that out of the guys? Because it's not coaching like in other sports, but it's managing in a different kind of way.
Yeah, it is a certain skill level that you need to have. Joe had it. He had all the elements. I think, we had, probably one of the greatest managers in the game, but his magic was that he was able to see every individual player and tell what makes this guy tick.
Yeah.
And it's not the same for every player. Like you get guys that you need to be on top of them all the time for them to, to be successful. You need to, sometimes you need a guy to be telling you how good you are all the time, for them to like.
That
have
was
this
Tiki with the Giants. He needed his ego stroked every day.
Okay, I'm good to go.
How good am I, Tom? How good am I, Tom? Hey, Tom, how good am I? Nah, I'm just kidding.
And then you get guys.
The problem is he would tell me, you're not that good.
And then you get guys like myself that, it's probably best if you just leave me alone.
Let him go.
Leave me alone, let me play.
I got this figured out.
But he knew, and he took the time to learn each and every player and have them believe in his philosophy of playing. And we would go through the wall for him. And not because we wanted to be the best team or because we were making all this amount of money or whatever, the fame, fortune. No, we were playing the way that we were playing because we loved our manager. And we wanted to play hard for him.
You think Joe Madden has that a little bit? Because the Cubs are a young squad. He feels like he's the old grizzled guy who's just, hey, young buck, come here.
But he still relates to him. He's still got a coolness about him.
That's what I mean.
I think so. And that team has become one of the most exciting teams in the league right now. And they're contending now. And he has them where they have to be. And basically, it's up to them. But it's going to be really exciting to see them perform.
Bernie, what I wanted to ask you, just in the larger context of the game of baseball, you look at the NBA, and it's evolved greatly over the past decade. You have forwards that can shoot. They call them stretch fours, as you probably know. Almost everybody, has a green light, except maybe a few centers, to let it fly from downtown. So the game's changed in the NBA. Football, more pass-heavy. Tiki, as great as Tiki was, if Tiki was playing today, his carries and his touches might not be as great because the game has changed. I don't think the game of baseball has changed appreciably, although there's less elements of hitting and running and bumping. There's some numbers that have infiltrated the game. But do you think the game has changed as much as the other sports I just mentioned, in your opinion?
I think it has changed a little bit.
What jumps out to you?
I think, with the advent of social media and, sort of self-promotion and all that, Twitter and all those accounts and all that, I think there has been sort of an underlining culture of being more,
Demonstrative.
selfish?
No.
Selfish?
No.
Brand
Demonstrative.
minded?
Like Joey Bats.
So a little bit more showboating,
Yeah.
a little bit more, the celebration kind of thing going, which was a little bit different because baseball, out of all the sports that I've, obviously my experience, have been the most conservative sports, the most conservative of all of them. It was all about, keeping your hat down,
Yep.
going out there, going about your business, not showing anybody off,
Yeah.
and just play the game hard.
Yeah, that's
but it has become more of a, just kind of like getting into this self-promoting, kind of like, highlight kind of thing.
You're right. You're right.
And I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, maybe it might be good for the game because we're living in a culture of, sort of, all this Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
And the
But,
younger fans relate
and the
to it.
younger
Baseball
fans
needs young
definitely relate
fans.
to that.
Yeah, back in your day though, Roger would brush him back or hit him in the back of the leg.
Even before when I was playing, it was expected for players to be hit.
Yeah.
Now you kind of brush somebody in, and it's just everybody, all the benches clear, and it's like everybody takes it
those
really
warning
personal.
out there.
Yeah,
It's become
if
so
you do
soft.
it again, you're getting kicked out.
It's so soft. That you try to break up a double play hard. The old school, that's kind of out the window.
Yeah.
Well, quickly on Bernie.
Randy Johnson wouldn't be able to play now because he did that by accident.
Among many.
Oh yeah.
I've always wondered, and I know some Yankees, among many players, Giambi has been public with his steroid PED stuff, and Alex Rodriguez has had his soap opera. You were a guy who had a lot of natural talent, but I know the game, in terms of instincts, didn't necessarily come easy to you. You had to work on stuff, but you could run, you switch hitter with power. You looked like a gazelle, young Bernie going to get it in the out. You had a lot of physical gifts. Were you ever tempted, as physically gifted as you were, to try to get better in an enhancement way? Like the temptation for you had to be huge, but you've never been connected to anything.
Yeah, and I never was. I mean,
did you think about it at all? Honestly,
honestly,
I would have.
Quite frankly, I really didn't think that was going to affect the way that I approached the game.
Yeah. Was it easy though? Like, was it easy? Like, if you had wanted to, was it easy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would assume that it would be easy for players. I mean, you can get anything you want. You can get access to anything that you need, and people are like more than happy to provide it for you. But to be quite frank, I didn't think it affected the way that I play the game. I mean, what's the difference in me between hitting the ball, hitting a double and off the wall or hitting it out? I was not going to hit that many home runs, and I'd really try to hit them when they counted.
Yeah.
I knew I was not going to be a 500 home run guy, and I took it as a challenge. I said, you know what? You're still going to have to throw the ball in that little box where I'm going to have to hit it. You're still going to have to outrun me. I'm still going to have to go out there and catch everything that I can. So I'm going to prove it that I'm still going to be playing at your game in this era and still going to be successful. And I'm still going to have a life after the game, because it's not the use, it's the abuse of steroids.
The organs and the physical damage.
We have a question about Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, but just a follow-up, small one. Do you fault the guys who actually did cheat?
That's a really, really hard question, and it's harder than you would ever know.
Maybe taking money out of your pocket, Bern.
Yeah,
and
where
just
the competition aspect, of it. In hindsight, you realize that you were in a disadvantage, in all aspects of the game. Maybe not the mental aspect, but certainly the physical aspect. You're competing with people that 1 year you see them that they're throwing 89, maybe 90, and then the next year, all of a sudden, 95, 97.
Yeah.
You see guys that are hitting like maybe 13, 14, 15 home runs a year, up to like 25, 30.
Or Brady Anderson, who wound up hitting 51 one season.
Well, he said, like, let me see if I can hit 50 in a year. He just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I think that we should have been more vocal about it and kind of like saying, you know what, this is wrong and we should do something about this because it's affecting everybody, not only the people that are doing it, but the people that are maybe just don't want it and may be forced to do it because of the certain situations, regarding their contracts and things like that. But it's a really, really controversial question because it was so pervasive, through my whole era. And the people that did not do it, like myself, get thrown into.
You're right. It
And you
affected
never
the
know.
entire
It affected
perception
and
of the
you
entire
don't know
era of the game.
how much of an impact my numbers would have had if you were playing everybody on the same playing field. You
That's
know,
good.
so it's one of those questions that I guess time will tell.
Now, you have a gala coming up on October 29th, and a fan will have an opportunity to have a memorable experience with you there. You'll be playing your guitar, performing with your band.
He's good on it. He can string it.
Fans also have through October 24th to win the ultimate grand prize, which is $1,000 of gift certificate towards a piece of jewelry. And this is a big one.
There's more?
$7 grand for a trip with your significant other. So tell us about this a little bit with Jared.
What a promotion.
I am very excited to be here on behalf of Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, to let everybody know about how its custom design studio works and how they work with guests to design original pieces of jewelry. I mean, they can design anything that you can imagine. And, all these fantasy guys that get their leagues, can design a ring for them and things like that. It's been a cool thing. They have master craftsmen that could make your dreams come true as far as, getting your jewelry and your bling on. So I would encourage everybody to go to their Jared, the Facebook page, and jared.com, for more details. My concert, that gala, I've been playing for a while with my band. Actually, this past semester, I graduated from Manhattan School of Music.
Oh, nice.
With a degree on jazz performance. Yeah, I've been really down low, the last 3 years trying to get my education and getting my college degree going, and I was able to get it. Very proud of that accomplishment. And now I'm just, another working musician in New York, trying to make it.
A hungry, starving musician with about $30 million in the bank, just trying to make it.
How soon to your headlining at Lincoln Center?
Hey, I actually did play at Dizzy's Jazz Coca-Cola with my Afro-Cuban ensemble. There was an ensemble for the school that I really had an opportunity to play there. And, played at Iridium, playing at hopefully at the Blue Note anytime
soon. Love the Blue Note. Haven't been there in a while, but
and
I love it.
It's I mean, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, and you have,
and
my man.
we playing it, having that fan base from sports, trying to translate it into music.
They're
That's been
following
really
you.
exciting.
We know.
Jared